ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಫ್ರಾಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ರೇಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಪರ್ಪೆಂಡಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ at the polarizing angle of incidence. Maximum diffraction takes place for radio waves. Hello students, this is Samson Deepak, Faculty of Physics, Vidhyaashram, Pre-University, Mysuru. Today, in this session, we will be discussing the Karnataka CET paper for the year 2008. Let us try to analyze the paper to its core and find solution with brisk time. We start solving the paper now. The first question. The question says, a ray of light enters from a rarer to a denser medium. Andre, a ray of light is traveling from a rarer medium to a denser medium. The angle of incidence is given to be I. Auro angle of incidence na I anta kardidare. And most importantly, the question says the reflected and the refracted rays are mutually perpendicular to each other. This is the core hint for me to solve the problem. The reflected and the refracted rays are mutually perpendicular to each other. Then I have to calculate the critical angle for the pair of media. So as I told, I need to have some conceptual knowledge so that I can arrive at the answer easily. So my hint here is the reflected and the refracted rays are mutually perpendicular to each other. When will it happen? Yavaga reflected ಮತ್ತೆ refracted rays mutual ಆಗಿ perpendicular ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. It is only at the polarizing angle of incidence. Only at the polarizing angle, the reflected and the refracted rays are mutually perpendicular. Now, the moment I say polarizing angle, the moment I say reflected and refracted rays are mutually perpendicular, I think of Brewster's law. So from Brewster's law, N equals tan I polarizing angle of incidence, consequence of Brewster's law, N equals tan I. ಈಗೇನ್ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Anywhere can I introduce critical angle here? Good. Refractive index N is nothing but 1 by sin C. Relationship between critical angle and refractive index N is nothing but 1 divided by sin C, and tan I can be written as sin I divided by cos I. So what is sin C? Sin C is nothing but cos I divided by sin I, which is cot I. Reciprocal sin C equals cos I divided by sin I, or from this expression C equals sin inverse cot I. So very beautifully the third option is the answer. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಗೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದೆ, ಈಸಿಲಿ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅರೈವ್ಡ್ at the answer. The next question, students, very interesting one, again from optics. A fish in water. There is a fish inside water. Refractive index of water is given to be N. Looks at a bird vertically above in the air. So the hint I grasp is the fish is present inside water and the bird is present in air, and the fish looks at the bird. So who is the observer? Yaru illi observer? Good, fish. And the object is the bird. So I assume this is the surface of water. So this is water, and here I have a fish, and the bird is placed in air. ಮೊದಲನೇ ಹಿಂಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ, observer, who is that fish, is in the denser medium, and the bird, the object, is in the rarer medium. Nenpitkoli. If y is the height of the bird and x is the depth of the fish from the surface, x is the depth of the bird from the surface, y is the height of the bird, then what is the distance of the bird as estimated by the fish? Distance of the bird as estimated by the fish. So, ಈ ಫಿಶ್ಗೆ ಈ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. First I will calculate the normal shift in the position of the bird from the surface of the water. From the depth of the water, normal shift in the position of the bird from the surface or depth of the water. And we say normal shift is T n minus 1 here. Why n minus 1? N minus 1 because the observer is in the denser medium. Since the observer is in the denser medium, T n minus 1. And what is T here? T is nothing but Y. Now I will calculate the shift of the bird from the surface of the water. Shift of the bird from the surface of the water. NS dash and karitini. This has to be the shift from the depth Y plus n minus 1 into Y, which is nothing but, when you simplify, what do we get? This is nothing but n into Y. So, the shift of the bird from the depth of the water is Y. Shift of the bird from the surface of the water, that Y plus n minus 1 into Y, ny. So the actual distance of the bird from the fish will be Y, or we say this is X plus ny. So the answer is the second option, which is X plus ny. Third one, again an interesting question. Figure shows, the diagram shows a mixture of blue, green and red colors. Mixture of blue, green and red colors incident normally on a right angled prism. Nodi, angle of the prism kottidare, which is 45 degrees. Mixture of three colors is considered: blue, green and red, which are incident on the prism. Blue, green ಮತ್ತೆ red colors ಈ prism ಮೇಲೆ incident ಆಗಿದೆ. And the critical angles for the material of the prism for the three colors is 44 degrees, this is 43 degrees, 44 degrees and 46 degrees respectively. Critical angle for blue is 43 degrees, green it is 44 degrees, red it is 46 degrees. Then the arrangement will separate which color separates out. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನ ಇಟ್ಟು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ angle of the prism is 45 degrees, which is greater than the critical angles for blue and green colors, that is 43 degrees and 44 degrees. So here, angle of the prism is greater than critical angle for blue and critical angle for green. Blue critical angle ಎಷ್ಟು 43 degrees. ಸಹಜವಾಗಿ 45 degrees is greater than 43 degrees. Critical angle for green 44 degrees, which means again 45 degrees is greater than 44 degrees, which means to say total internal reflection happens at the second surface. Here TIR, total internal reflection, is happening at the second surface, and hence red color separates out, which means red color is separated from blue and green. So the first option is the correct answer. A convex and a concave lens. Convex and a concave lens are separated by a distance d, and then again put into contact. What happens to the focal length of the combination? ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ವೆಕ್ಸ್ ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಕೇವ್ ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. They are separated by a certain distance d. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ they are again placed in contact. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. They are again placed in contact. What happens to the focal length of the combination? Come on, recall the expression for effective focal length. Here, 1 by f is 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2 minus d f1 f2, where f1 and f2 are the focal length of the convex lens and the concave lens. Now the characteristic of the question is d is 0. After certain arrangement, first they were separated by certain distance, but now they are placed in contact. D is 0, which means f becomes small, or this capital F decreases. Why? This D is 0. So the focal length of the combination decreases when the two lens are placed in contact. So the answer is the first one, which means decreases. Next one. A convex lens. Convex lens is made of 3 layers of glass and of 3 different materials as shown in the figure. There is a convex lens which, according to the problem, has 3 layers. which is made of 3 different materials. And a point object is placed on its axis. The number of images formed. ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ರೆ convex lens has 3 layers which is made of glass and 3 different materials. Very good. No doubt about that. The question is very clear saying that. Question clear ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 3 different materials, but the point object is placed on the axis of the combination. ಅವರು ಯಾವ ಲೇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Point object is placed on the axis, which means the axis of the combination, which again hints saying that there is single focal length, because the point object is placed on the combination of the 3 layers and hence it has single focal length. So number of images formed will also be equal to 1 because there is single focal length. Very simple question, asked in the board exam also for 1 mark. If mu naught is permeability of free space, mu naught ನೇನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Permeability of free space, something associated with magnetic field. And epsilon naught is permittivity of free space, again something associated with electric field. The speed of light in vacuum, all of you know well, the speed of light in vacuum in terms of permeability mu naught and permittivity epsilon naught. C is 1 by root mu naught epsilon naught. Extend this root to 1, it has the same meaning. So this is 1 divided by mu naught epsilon naught, the entire root. In Young's double slit experiment, there is a third slit in between the double slits. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? You have 2 slits. There is interference pattern formed with good contrast. You have 2 slits. The contrast between the bright fringes and dark fringes will be good. But if you introduce a third slit, there is obstruction to the path of light. Path difference change ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So the contrast will also decrease. So the contrast between the bright and the dark fringes is reduced. Now, assignment question for you all. Just I have done this in my previous session itself. Maxima and minima conditions. Again, an important question. In a Fraunhofer diffraction experiment, he is talking about Fraunhofer diffraction experiment using a single slit and light of wavelength 400 nanometer. Light of wavelength 400 nanometer is used. The first minimum is formed at an angle of 30 degrees. First minimum. So, in a diffraction pattern, what is the condition for first minima? We say A sin theta is equal to lambda, or A is equal to lambda by sin theta. So the condition for the formation of first minima, n lambda agate, n is 1. A sin theta is lambda, so A is lambda divided by sin theta. Then the direction theta, I have to calculate theta for what? First secondary maximum. First minimum is formed at an angle 30 degrees. I want first secondary maxima. Now, what is the condition for first secondary maxima? Again, A sin theta is 3 by 2 lambda. So from this, sin theta equals 3 lambda by 2 into 1 by A, which means sin theta equals 3 lambda by 2 into, I have A here, 1 by A is the reciprocal, sin theta by lambda. Lambda gets cancelled. Theta is 30 degrees. Sin 30 is half. So, sin theta is 3 by 4. So, the answer is sin inverse 3 divided by 4. See, these two conditions, that's all. During diffraction from a Fraunhofer pattern, what is the condition for first minimum? First secondary maximum. Substitute, you are arriving at the answer. Maximum diffraction takes place for radio waves because they have maximum wavelength. If the wavelength is more, diffraction or bending is also more. Next question. An unpolarized light of intensity I0 falls on a Polaroid. One unpolarized light ide. The intensity of unpolarized light is I0. It is falling on a Polaroid. Then what is the intensity of the emergent light? The theory says the light coming out from a Polaroid, polarized light, should have an intensity which is half of the intensity of the unpolarized light. Here I naught is the intensity of the unpolarized light. So the emergent light, polarized light should have an intensity I naught by 2. Following is a dichroic crystal. This is actually from the previous syllabus. Selective absorption anta karitivi. A crystal has ability to absorb either the ordinary ray or the extraordinary ray, and tourmaline crystal is a dichroic crystal. Now, two identical metal spheres. There are two identical metal spheres charged with plus 12 microfarad and minus 8 microfarad, and kept at a certain distance in air. The two charges are separated by a certain distance in air. First charge, the magnitude is to 12 microfarad. Second charge, the magnitude minus 8 microfarad. ಅವುಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯ ಇರೋ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯೋಣ. ನಾವು ಇದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಈಗ. They are brought in contact. The two charges are brought in contact and then kept at the same distance. ಎರಡೂ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ತಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. The ratio of the magnitude of electrostatic force before and after contact. The moment I say electrostatic force, who will come to your help? Mr. Coulomb. First, I will calculate the electrostatic force before contact, before the two charges are brought into contact. F1 is K, which is Coulomb's constant, Q1, Q2 by D square, or F1 is K, 12 into 8, 96 by D square. Exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಓರಲ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ನ ನೀವು ಕಲಿಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದಕ್ಕೂ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂರಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. Now, during contact, what will happen to the distribution of charges? Always remember, Q1 will be equal to Q2, which will be the sum of the charges divided by 2. Al minus 8 irodrinda I have taken minus 8. So during contact, when the two charges are brought into contact, the charge distribution is Q1 equals Q2, sum of the two charges divided by 2. Here it is 12 minus 8 divided by 2. So Q1 equals Q2 is 2 micro charge Coulomb. So that has to be Coulomb. So micro Coulomb. Now, So what is the electrostatic force after contact? So again, F2 will be K. Now Q1 is also 2, Q2 is also 2, 4, and the distance remains the same. So if you just equate F1 and F2, analytic simplification of F1 by F2, which is 96 by 4. So the answer is 24:1. This is an arrangement of what we call Van de Graaff generator. The question describes the arrangement of something called Van de Graaff generator, where the potential difference is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught small q divided by small r minus q divided by capital R. The next one. Charges capital Q plus Q and Q are placed at the vertices of an equilateral triangle of side L. So there is an equilateral triangle whose side is L. Here plus Q plus small q plus small q. The net electrostatic potential energy of the system is 0. Very clearly he says electrostatic potential energy of the system is 0. Then Q is equal to, now electrostatic potential is given by the expression 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R. So this is the expression for potential energy of a system of charges. So here this is K, first system, capital Q and small q. Capital Q, small q, distance is L. Q into Q, Q square, distance is L. Again plus small q, capital Q, distance is L, which according to the problem is 0. Electrostatic potential energy is 0. Or this is K all throughout Q by L. What remains here? Capital Q plus Q plus Q is equal to 0. Capital Q, small q, capital Q, small q, K, small q. Okay, so this K and small q, this K, 1q, K, small q, I take out, denominator is L. This K is a constant. So this term cannot be 0. So the term within the bracket has to be 0, which means Q is minus 2Q, or the value of Q is given there to be, yes, how many 6 microfarad 200 volts condensers. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡೆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. how many 6 microfarad 200 volt condensers are needed to make a single capacitor of capacitance 18 microfarad and potential 600 volts. Now, in series, gamna what happens to the potential of a system when the capacitors are connected in series? The total potential will be V1 plus V2, etc. when capacitors are connected in series. The total potential V is V1 plus V2 plus V3, etc. What is the potential of the equivalent capacitor here? 600. This is obtained by using X capacitors of value each 200 volts. For a single capacitor, potential is 600 volts obtained using X capacitors of potential 200, which means X is 3. So there are 3 capacitors connected in series. So the effective capacitance is 1 by CS is 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3. Or, yeah. Now, the same way, if I get 18 microfarad in parallel, so again CP is C1 plus C2 plus C3. So when I substitute here, see, 6 microfarad capacitor. So I will have to get 9 into 3, which is 27. So the answer is the 4th option, which is 27. Total energy stored in the condenser system. Again, capacitor, very simple. These two are in series. So CS 6 into 3 divided by 6 plus 3, 18 by 9, 2 microfarad. So the effective capacitance here, 2 microfarad. 2 and 2 are in parallel. So CP is 2 plus 2, which is 4 microfarad. He's asking us the energy stored. So this is half CV square. Energy stored in a capacitor, half CV square. Half C is 4, V square is 4. So 8 microjoule is the answer. A wire is subjected to constant potential difference. A metallic wire is subjected. Constant potential difference is applied to the wire. When the temperature of the wire increases, What should happen to drift velocity? Temperature increases. Thermal velocity of electrons increases. Drift velocity should decrease. So drift velocity decreases. Thermal velocity increases. Assignment for you all. Quite number of times I have done the circuit solving. 10 ohm is the answer. This question went for a toss. The data was not sufficient. So this was an absurd problem that went for a toss.